The way I would describe it is with two words. I want it to be intentional and I want it to be opportunistic. The intentional part of it is you should be very intentional in defining your mission, your goals, and your plan. And the opportunistic piece of it is I want you to pursue those goals with a passion, but in a manner that exposes you to a greater number of unanticipated opportunities. My belief is if you're pursuing a defined plan and that's consistent with the mission of your life, you're going to be doing it in a way that has greater passion, and just as a result of that, you're going to get exposed to unanticipated opportunities. And that's not unlike the strategy of our business. I want our business to have a defined strategy. I want to hold it firmly in one hand, but I want to leave the other hand available to pick up opportunities along the way. So as you define your game plan and you define your mission and you define your goals, I want you to occasionally slow down, take a breath, look around, and see what opportunities are around you. People that are passionate about their life's work come across more opportunities than people that aren't. I want you to take ownership in your career, take ownership in the performance management process, and take action. What everybody ought to do, in addition to the standard performance management process, is assemble a group of trusted advisors. They should be peers, they should be people that you work for, and share your performance management plan with them. Ask for their input, make it transparent, learn from others around you. And then, once you've defined it and finalized your plan, review it with your trusted advisors on a periodic basis, and just like I said before, make a decision, move forward. If it's not producing the results you want, course correct. And the question always comes up, well, geez, I'm new here, who should I talk to, who can't I talk to? There's no boundaries. You know, I get notes and emails and phone calls from brand new staff people all the time that ask me about my goal setting process, run goals by me. We want this to be boundaryless. We want you to review your progress, review your performance management process with the people that you know and respect. And there are no boundaries. If you're a new staff person and you know and respect or want to get to know a managing director, sit down with them. They'll make time for you. Get on their schedule. Get on their calendar. Invite them to lunch. Talk to them about this process. No boundaries. There's an urban legend that I quote all the time, and it's in Mark McCormick's book, What They Didn't Teach You at Harvard Business School. Here's the urban legend. It's not true, but it ought to be true. In 1979, they evaluated a class of HBS students. 3% of the students had written goals, 13% had goals, and 84% had no goals. They came back 20 years later and evaluated that class. The 13% that had goals, which were not written down, were earning twice as much as the 84% that didn't have goals. The 3% that not only had goals but wrote the goals down had more wealth than all 97% of the class. While that's not true, and it is an urban legend, it was published in a best-selling book, it ought to be true, because there's been subsequent studies that have actual facts that verify it that are along these same lines without the same percentages. But the point is, if you want to make more out of your life, if you want to be more successful, if you want to accomplish more in your lifetime, on your days on this earth, you ought to have goals, and you ought to have them written down, and you ought to reflect upon them, and you ought to share them with others and build accountability. She sent me an email that inquired about my goal setting process, and this is how I replied. Dear Megan, start with a blank sheet of paper, draw a circle in the middle of it with your age now and 5 years from now. Then create categories for your goals over the next 5 years. These are the categories I use for my 10-year goals, which I recently revisited on my summer vacation. I have goals around family. I have goals around career skills and leadership. I have goals around A&M. I have goals that are intellectually focused, spiritually focused, physical, financial, recreation, and I have goals around ideas and ventures. So that's 9 categories of goals. If you want to know what the circles look like, this is how I created them. The inner circle is 10 years. I actually had mine on a 10-year process, so ages 56 to 65. And then around that, I had my first round of goals, and around each one of them, subsequent goals like that. Hope you can't read them because some of them are a little bit personal, but this is how I think about it, and I translate these into a set of goals and objectives and review them on a periodic basis.